Hi, welcome to Anaprime Recap. A warrior has the love of his life captured by a demon who takes her straight to the depths of the underworld, and to save her, he will need to defeat all the creatures in the 9 circles of hell. We are in the anime Dante's Inferno, an animated epic. After 3 years away from home, since he left to fight in the war, Dante finally returns to his family. He can't wait to be reunited with his beloved Beatrice, to whom he had sworn eternal loyalty. When he finally arrives on his father's land, he realizes that something strange is happening. Everything was very dark and quiet. Upon entering the house, he finds all the staff lifeless, with their bodies all across the floor. On the table is her father, his stomach ripped apart and his organs bulging out. He runs until he reaches Beatrice's room, praying to God that his beloved is still alive. When he gets to her room, there's blood smeared everywhere. Dante looks out the window and finds Beatrice, lying outside. She is injured but still manages to say a few words to her lover. He asks who was responsible for that atrocity, but Beatrice says it was an outsider and she didn't know him. The woman still remembers the night before Dante left, in which he swore that even though he spent all that time away from her, he would not succumb to the desires of the flesh. Beatrice then accuses him of cheating on her, but Dante claims he would never do that. The woman cannot resist the injuries and dies in his arms. Beatrice's soul leaves her body and begins to ascend to heaven, but before she can get there, a demon rises from beneath the earth, captures the woman's soul and takes her to hell. Dante mounts his horse and chases them. Before he can even get through the gates, other creatures appear to stop him. He manages to defeat them and, from afar, sees his beloved being taken to the depths of hell. As he wails in front of the gates, some demonic giant arms rise from the ground and grab Dante. Then sew a cross on his chest and around his arms. On it were tattooed all the sins that Dante had committed during his life. After that agonizing pain is over, the demons leave and the man questions why God allowed all that to happen to him. Despite having just experienced his skin being literally sewn together, for him, no pain was greater than losing the love of his life. His will to save her is so great that, with his own hands, Dante manages to open the gates of hell and is faced with Beatrice and the demon that had captured her. The woman said she did not believe that he had broken his oath and asked the man not to let her be taken by that demon. The creature carries her to the depths and Dante dives after her and reaches hell. His first meeting is with Virgil, the author of the Aeneid, who informs him that all this was happening due to a bet Beatrice had made with Lucifer so that Dante could return home safely. She bet that, in this period when they were together, Dante would never betray her. If she lost the bet, Lucifer could take her soul to reside with him in hell. After hearing this, Dante once again states that he never betrayed Beatrice and asks Virgil to guide him through that place so he can save his beloved. The poet accepts the request and walks with him to Charon's boat, which will take them to the first circle of hell, Limbo. Along with them, dozens of souls walk towards the same destination. On the way to Limbo, demonic creatures appear to destroy Dante. During the fight, he loses his sword and takes a scythe from one of the demons. Conquering his mighty weapon that is now in his hands, he is able to destroy all enemies. Finally, he attacks Charon for not wanting to take him on his boat. After destroying the boatmen, Dante and Virgil make their own way to the first circle. Meanwhile, at Lucifer's dwelling, Beatrice suffers horrible attacks in a variety of ways, from visions that show her Dante's death to his body being completely charred. According to Lucifer, he would have a lot of fun making the woman live 1,000 deaths. Upon arriving in Limbo, Dante finds a fetus and wonders how a baby could have ended up there. When he touches it, the man can see all the events that got him there. He discovers that that baby was actually his son, growing in Beatrice's belly shortly after Dante left to fight in the Crusades. At 5 months pregnant, Beatrice had a serious problem, and ended up losing the baby. The fetus turns to ash in Dante's hands, and soon after, new demons emerge from behind the trees. They take the form of babies and try to exterminate him with their claws. Dante manages to finish off some of them, but thousands of new demons appear and it becomes impossible to defeat them all. With Virgil's help, Dante manages to escape and arrives in a room where the shadows of the great kings and philosophers, such as Caesar, Plato, Socrates and Aristotle, resided. Then he enters the reign of Minos, king of Crete, responsible for judging the souls of the damned in hell. In order to move forward and reach the last circle of hell, where Lucifer and Beatrice were, Dante will need to defeat him. The warrior rips Minos apart with his deadly scythe, and when the king bends down to fight back, Dante cuts off his arm, causing him to have his head ripped apart by the thorny wheel he used to make his judgments. After that, King Minos remains degraded and the convicts take advantage of the situation to try to escape. Dante follows the path until he reaches the second circle, the circle of lust. There are the souls of sinners who have given in to the lust of the flesh. The protagonist crosses the portal and comes across several demons, in women's bodies, who try to seduce him. As they cannot make him give in to carnal desires, those creatures band together to attack him. One by one, Dante manages to destroy them, but is surrounded by the memory of the betrayal he had committed against the woman he swore to love. During the period when he fought in the Crusades, Dante accepted the proposal of a prisoner who, in exchange for him stopping her husband's execution, would spend that night by her side. As he walks towards the third circle, Dante confesses his betrayal to Virgil and reveals that he has bitterly regretted it. Just ahead, he finds thousands of souls of sinners who succumbed to gluttony being devoured by Cerberus, guardian of that circle. The poet informs him that in order to move forward, Dante would need to destroy the true circle of gluttony that was located within that creature's body. The man goes towards to attack him and, while trying to exterminate the guardian, ends up being swallowed. Inside the beast's stomach, he spots some souls that were also devoured. Among them is a resident of his city who begs for help. With the powers of the cross given to him by his beloved, Dante frees the soul of that man and, consequently, awakens the shadow that protects that place, which informs him that his father is also imprisoned in hell. Walking inside Cerberus' body, Dante finds his heart and quickly rushes to destroy it. He rips out the animal's heart with his death scythe. At that moment, he is expelled from the creature's body, and while trying to escape, he ends up falling into the abyss and is sent to the fourth circle, where all the souls that have been taken by greed reside. Ironically, in this circle, they are all being destroyed by what they love most in the world: money. Being in that place reminds Dante of his father, who was extremely attached to his material possessions. Once, suspecting that his wife had stolen a coin, that man seriously assaulted her. A year later, Dante's mother passed away from a high fever. Or that's what he believes. While talking to Virgil, the protagonist is surprised by the presence of his father, who had a grotesque appearance and had been sent by Lucifer to destroy his son in exchange for 1,000 years free from pain and endless gold. Dante still tries to argue, but his father is determined to stand up to him. They exchange a few blows, and when he sees an opportunity to defeat him, Dante throws his scythe in his direction. However, his father manages to dodge. Without having a weapon to defend himself, the protagonist lures the man he has always despised to a cauldron full of molten gold. He prepares himself, kicks him in the face and knocks him inside, causing his soul to be destroyed. Still sad by his father's death, Dante heads to the fifth circle, where the souls of people gripped by wrath agonize as they are mired in the black mud of the river Styx. Virgil summons Phlegus, the guardian, to help them cross that river. As they cross, angry souls try their best to stop them. And when they arrive on the other side, Dante approaches the city of Dis, where it is inhabited by the priests of darkness. There, the wedding took place between Lucifer and Beatrice, who, despite hating him, had no power to make any other choice, especially after discovering her lover's betrayal. Seeing Dante and Phlegus approaching, Lucifer attacks them and flees with Beatrice again into the depths in order to lure the protagonist. But before he gets there, he needs to cross the sixth circle, destined to burn the profane in eternal fire. In the circle of heresy, Farinata appears in his path and informs him that Beatrice will marry Lucifer and reign with him in hell, while Dante will forever be trapped in that place. Hearing this, he is filled with rage and pierces that spirit's eye. He goes to the seventh circle. On the way, he meets the Minotaur, responsible for guarding the passage between the sixth and seventh circles. But this time, Dante manages to defeat the enemy with great ease. As this creature is endowed with a lot of muscle and little brain, just dodging his attacks was enough to get rid of him. Finally, Dante arrives at the seventh circle, destined for the souls of those who used violence against their fellow men. This time, he has the help of Nessus the Centaur to cross the river of blood. Along the way, arms emerge from the river and try to capture them, but Nessus is faster and manages to get them across safely. Dante arrives at the forest of people who took their own lives, where those who practiced violence against themselves live. There, he hears a familiar voice and so decides to head in that direction, but what he sees leaves him heartbroken. The warrior finds his mother and discovers that she too is among the damned. Her spirit reveals to him that she didn't die of the fever, but rather took her own life for despising the man she was married to and, at the same time, being too weak to defy him. With eyes filled with tears, Dante uses his cross to free his mother's soul and send her to heaven. Still in the seventh circle, Dante arrives at the burning sands, where the spirits of those who practiced violence against God reside. In this desert, he finds his colleagues who fought alongside him in the Crusades, including Francesco, Beatrice's brother. Dante is surprised to see them in that place. He believed that the cause they were fighting for was sacred and that they had been absolved of all their sins, as the bishop had promised. Francesco informs him that the priests lied, there was never a holy war, because God never forgives any kind of violence. After saying that, Francesco, whom Dante considers a brother, pulls his sword and goes for the protagonist, claiming that he doesn't deserve the life he has and doesn't even deserve Beatrice. When he was about to lose his life, Dante gets up, retrieves his scythe and destroys his old friend's sword. Then, with a single blow, he cuts Francesco's head in half. And then, the man's body turns to ash, along with the other soldiers. Further on, Dante and Virgil take a ride with Geryon, a snake with wings, who takes them to the 8th circle, the circle of fraud. Now Dante has to hurry to get to the last circle, as Beatrice is about to marry Lucifer. As he destroys the demons in his way, he sees his lover turning into an evil being during their marriage. By eating the forbidden fruit, Beatrice becomes corrupted, giving in to human sins and becoming the queen of hell. After the transformation, Beatrice goes to Dante to get revenge for his lies and for having her condemned to hell. She uses all of her power to attack him, while Dante tries to get her forgiveness, claiming that he went through all the circles of hell and faced all of her sins in order to save her. At that moment, the portal to the 9th circle opens, the circle of traitors, and Beatrice claims that this is Dante's place. He asks for forgiveness for all the suffering he has caused, but the woman insists that she will never be able to forgive him. Dante then lifts the cross that Beatrice had given him before his departure and says he brought it back to her. With this, the man frees the soul of his beloved. Beatrice leaves behind the title of Queen of Hell and gives her soul again to God, stating that she forgives Dante. Then an angel appears and takes the woman's soul to heaven. Virgil appears and informs him that in order to claim his place at Beatrice's side, Dante will have to face Lucifer in the circle of traitors. To Dante's surprise, that place was not surrounded by fire, on the contrary, it was a frozen and deserted land. He walks through the darkness in search of his opponent. And on the way, he meets a lost soul who informs him that Lucifer inhabits the center of that place and gives the coordinates so that Dante can reach that place. After a long journey, facing the cold and darkness, Dante came to a path blocked by chains of ice. On the other side of that passage, he meets the Lord of Hell. Lucifer taunts him with his words and Dante starts his attacks. First, he pierces one of his eyes and then climbs up to his head to deliver the final blow. The devil gets his head split in half and falls at Dante's feet. When the man believes he has destroyed him, Lucifer returns and says that many have tried, but so far no one has been able to defeat him. He still ends by saying that Dante, without a doubt, is the greatest of his slaves. According to Lucifer, Beatrice was just bait to attract him. He reveals that God had imprisoned him in the circle of traitors, only allowing his shadow to roam the other parts of hell. Now, thanks to Dante, who had defeated him, Lucifer was free. Despite all his efforts, clearly, the protagonist was not able to defeat him in his new form. He manages to survive some of his attacks, but soon realizes he won't be able to get out of that place alive. Lucifer takes on an even scarier appearance and gives several attacks at Dante. Seeing that the warrior has no strength to continue the battle, Lucifer shows him the purgatory, where Beatrice was waiting for him. The demon even says that once he gets out of that pit, he will make all the souls in purgatory suffer and then he will destroy them forever. Soon after, he would head to paradise, wreaking chaos along the way. All thanks to Dante. Faced with that situation, the only way to defeat Lucifer, save Beatrice and all other innocent souls, was to turn to God for help. And that's exactly what he did. In a prayer, Dante renounces Beatrice and says that he gives up his escape, as he is a sinner and belongs in hell. The only thing he asks is that the Lord give him the power he needs to keep Lucifer in that place. In that instant, a powerful force is released from his body. This power is enough to freeze Lucifer so that he can never leave. At the end of the battle, the portal to purgatory opens and Dante launches himself into it. In that moment, he finally rips the sin sewn into his skin and makes his way to find Beatrice, who was waiting for him somewhere in that purgatory. A while later, that cross that was previously sewn into Dante's chest turns into a snake. Apparently, Lucifer has once again managed to escape the eternal darkness. So what did you think of this anime? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more anime recaps. See you next time.